Hey Nexians, and welcome back to the Nexus. And if you're new here, welcome on in. I'm glad to have you. Since we're stepping into a new year, I wanted to take a step back. No, not from gaming, but from how we think about it. And let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually finished a game? Not logged off from it, not even took a break from it, but when you actually finished it. Because there's a reason that question feels a little strange now. Games used to end, the credits used to roll, and the music used to swell. You put the controller down and felt like something was actually completed. And now, most games don't really end anymore. They just update. Which is great, unless you are emotionally prepared for closure. Somewhere along the way, games stopped being designed to end and started being designed to last. And the game that showed the entire industry that this could actually work was Fortnite.
Map. Oh! Freaking dude! There's someone else here.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room. Fortnite. Not as a villain, not as a savior, but as a proof of concept. Because Fortnite didn't just succeed, it proved something the industry couldn't afford to ignore. Before Fortnite, most games still had an ending. You played, you progressed, and then you finished. And sometimes maybe you came back for DLC. Fortnite flipped that logic on its head. It asked a different question entirely. What if the game never asks you to stop playing? Not even to take a break. Just, hey, did you check our shop today? Are you going to at least? Fortnite showed that a game doesn't need an ending to thrive. It doesn't even need a sequel, nor does it need permanence. This is because seasons reset, maps change, and mechanics rotate. But one thing stays consistent. You stayed. Which, all things considered, you staying is impressive, because the Fortnite island has been blown up more times than New York City in the Avengers movie. Anyway, that realization was massive, because if a game never ends, players never fully disengage, and if players never disengage, you don't need to sell them a new experience. You just need to keep reshaping the one they're already in. I'm not saying Fortnite ruined gaming. I am saying that it changed what games are allowed to be, and once they opened that door, the rest of the industry followed suit.
Man, I had a lot of fun, bro.
Now, this is where things really shift, because Fortnite didn't just change how games make money, it changed what a game is allowed to be. Fortnite stopped being something you played and started being somewhere you are. Events replaced endings, updates replaced sequels, and the game itself became a stage.
Alright, when this song drops, I want to see everybody jumping with me. I want to see you jumping. Let's go.
Back home to you.
Live concerts, events, movie trailers, massive crossovers, hangout spots, you name it. At this point, Fortnite has hosted more celebrities than some award shows. This wasn't just creative, it was infrastructural. Fortnite became a platform that could contain other content. And once a game becomes a platform, it no longer has to justify itself through gameplay alone. Other studios saw this and realized something unsettling. You don't need to sell players a game. You can sell them a space, a routine, a reason to log in. Free to play is honestly suddenly starting to sound very expensive. And once this mindset spreads, the question stopped being, is this fun? And became, how long can we keep them here?
Being a bot, I can't speak. I'll link it in a second. Give me a second.
Yeah, I know. They're shooting at me right now. Stop sniping at me. Oh, shit, you're by yourself, by the way. 2v1? Oh, shit.
I'm good.
This is where the shift becomes noticeable. Not all at once, but slowly, almost politely. Because once games stopped ending, everything inside them starts needing a reason to exist. Progression turns into retention, challenges turn into obligations, and customization stops being expression and starts becoming identity. Daily challenges, limited time rewards and modes, and seasonal unlocks and items. You're not just picking a skin because it looks cool, you're picking it because it says something unique about you. None of this is evil by design, but it does change the relationship between player and game. Games stop asking, what experience are we delivering? And they start asking, what reason do they have to log in today? When every aspect of gaming becomes content, nothing is ever finished. There's always another update, another battle pass, and another moment you're supposed to be there for. And if you miss it, don't worry, other players will remind you of it later. When games don't end, players don't really rest. There's always something else you could be doing, something you might be falling behind on, and slowly, playing stops being about wanting to be there and starts being about feeling like you should be there. Not because the game demands it, but because the system rewards consistency over completion. Fortnite succeeded because it was designed for this. The real problem came when everything else tried to become Fortnite. Not every game needs to last forever. Not every experience needs to be a monetized loop. Some games are meant to end, and that ending, that feeling of completion, is part of what made gaming feel special in the first place.
Wake up, this beast within. Soon as I hit that stage again, everybody come alive like Rick and Glenn. I don't work too hard just to give up now. Soon as I pull up, it was going down.
So, am I saying Fortnite destroyed gaming or not? I genuinely don't think so. It didn't cheapen it, and it didn't steal anything from players. What it did was reveal something that the industry couldn't unlearn, that players will stay. Not because a game is endless, but because it's never finished. It genuinely has been over-commodified, repackaged, and given back to us in a different format. And once this has become clear, games didn't have to ask players to leave anymore. The question isn't whether live service games are good or bad. The question is what we lose when completion stops being part of the experience, because endings aren't failures, they're punctuation. Notice, nobody ever complains that a good movie ended. You just remember how fuzzy it made you feel in the moment. There's something powerful about reaching the end of something, about knowing you were there for the whole journey, about putting something down, not because you got bored, but because it's wrapped up. That feeling still matters, even if the industry doesn't prioritize it anymore. Fortnite showed us what games can be, but it also reminds us of what games used to be. And maybe the future of gaming isn't choosing one or the other, but remembering when to let an experience end. And sometimes, the most satisfying thing a game can do is tell us goodbye. And that's a wrap. If you made it here, I just want to say thank you. This video is the first part of a 3-part series, not just about Fortnite, but about how gaming became endlessly commodified. Part 1 looks at how Fortnite proved the system could work. Part 2 explores how social media turned play into performance. And Part 3 asks how corporations sold the identity of being a gamer back to us. If this kind of breakdown resonates with you, this is what I do here, and it's about more than just Fortnite. If you ever want to support the channel beyond just watching, whether it's through a super thanks or checking out the newly launched memberships, it genuinely would help keep projects like this possible. If not, a like or a subscribe, only if you think I've earned it, goes a long way too. But either way, I'm just glad you were here. You spent the most important resource we have, your time, with me, and I really truly don't take that lightly. The support I've received up until now is astonishing. We've made it to almost 2K subs in a little under 6 months. And I know that might not seem a lot for a lot of people, but for me, it's special because I've always wanted to do something like this, and you guys are making this possible. But if you made it this far, let me know your favorite childhood game and why. Mine's Pokemon, but I'm sure if you look through my channel history, you'd probably figure that out. So stay curious, stay critical, and as always, this is your captain, signing out.